Welcome back to the Anxious to Secure podcast. Today we're talking about 5 things to stop your anxious attachment style. So if you have an anxious attachment style and feeling everything very intensively, you are often feeling insecure, overwhelmed by emotions, always finding yourself attached to the avoidant partner who's more shutting down, the more you seek closeness, the more you seek the intensity of physical and especially emotional closeness, and they're shutting down or they're getting defensive, then this episode is for you, because you don't have to change him, you don't have to fix him. You can actually do a lot of things for yourself. These are things that I used to do in my relationship, and a lot of things I'm still applying. I have created now an earned secure attachment style, where I created different core beliefs. I regulate my emotions now. I self-soothe. I do so many things now I wasn't able to do. I didn't even know how to do back then, 2 years ago, when I was with my partner living in London in one room, and we were always fighting, arguing, and we're at this place where it really doesn't feel good being together, because it always ends up like every weekend when we after work, when we're supposed to have good time together, quality time, going to the park, we ended up arguing because we didn't, yeah, we kind of clicked, like subconsciously. We were really attracted to each other in that sense. We really somehow understood each other, but then there was always somehow misunderstandings, and only when I found attachment theory, everything made sense. So here are now a few things I want to share with you that you can do. Like, I broke it down into 5 things. So, how to stop anxious attachment. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Yula. I'm an anxious and secure coach now, because I was so excited and so relieved after I've created this secure attachment style, that I thought, okay, I have to show others how it's done, how I did it, at least, because there's so many million of other ways how you can do it. But this is really what I found to be very helpful. So today I'm going to show you 5 things with you that you can apply immediately, I would say. Let's see. Disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or doctor. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, or heal any mental health condition. If you're in an abusive relationship or dealing with severe mental health challenges, always seek professional advice. So number 1 is you want to take things not anymore personally. So I used to take everything personally, not just in romantic relationships, but also when I got rejected, what happened at work. So, but mostly we get triggered in romantic relationships, right, with our partner, because they mirror the most our caregivers, our early experiences back to us. So these are the biggest wounds that get reactivated. So how this might look like right now, what you might be taking personally is, and it's so activating, is like when your partner needs more space than you, when they come home from work and they're very stressed, and you want to finally reconnect with him because you didn't had your cup filled up during the time of social connection, of intimacy, of bonding. Your cup is basically empty, you're starving, versus your partner's cup is already overflowing. He had already so much triggers and so many points of connection at work and stressors that they need now time to recharge and just alone time. This is how they feel safe, versus you feel safe with closeness and deep intimacy, and especially with your deep people, the ones you can really feel close with. So what I did realize, I can't take things my partner's doing not personal anymore, because there's nothing to do with me. All of the ways he's showing up are usually because of his upbringing, his core wounds, his beliefs, even though they're not always helpful. Like, who are we to judge, right? And if you are taking his mood always on and always are like, oh, now maybe it's about me. What have I done? Have I done something wrong? Does this now, mean he's mad at me? Did I say something wrong yesterday? Or maybe you're immediately when you get a short reply from him, or he just liked your message, or he's just really answering in very short words, you're taking this on and taking things personally. It's like, oh, okay, did I do something wrong? Because you're so hyper vigilant, you're always looking for, is our connection safe? Am I going to lose him? Am I going to lose this relationship? And this is for you safety, close to this for you everything. But as soon as you realize, you know what, your partner's behaviors, fears, everything around him are about your partner, it has nothing to do with you, you can realize, hey, okay, it's about him and I don't need to take it personal. I don't need to take this on. But often the anxious attachment has this core belief of, I'm not okay, you are okay. Meaning, you think you rather trust other people like your partner than yourself because you have a low self-esteem. You don't trust yourself really that things are going to be okay. So you need your partner to be okay. And if there's kind of a slight sense of the relationship is a threat or your partner's not okay, then you're adding meaning into it for yourself that you did something wrong. Um, I've challenged my own core belief on this, and not just challenging it, like I also rewired it. Means that every time when it still pops up in everyday situations, I say it out loud. I say, okay, this is my fear of being abandoned, or this is me jumping to conclusions, or this is me taking things personal right now. But my partner's triggers are about him and my triggers are about me. And there's just nothing wrong with it. We're both just dysregulated, and it helps me to take a step back. So number 2 is a little bit similar, and that is, don't think everything in your relationship means abandonment. So again, your brain easily jumps to conclusion. Our subconscious mind, I heard a coach saying, or like it was the therapist saying, like lots of times per second, our brain scans the environment, it scans ourselves to, are we safe? First of all. Second of all, are we in danger? And the third thing is, it's asking, are we in a life-threatening situation? And anxious attachment does it all the time as well, so many times a second. And it often focuses on our partner because that is our safety blanket. We don't check in on ourselves as well, if are we safe, but we're always focusing on our partner especially. Versus other people might check in general, just, subconsciously the environment. Anxious attachment is hyper focused on the avoidant partner to see, is there any kind of threat to our relationship? Again, the relationship and the closeness and an intimacy level, and everything is this is linked to closeness and safety. So if now your partner is withdrawing, or maybe they're rejecting an act, you could say an act of you trying to kiss him, or you trying to initiate a date, or anything you're trying to do, and he's rejecting that act, you make it mean, okay, he doesn't like me anymore, he's rejecting me as a person, he's going to leave me in the end. So you're jumping from one thing to another thing to another thing, and in the end, you're always going to end up with, I'll be abandoned because I'm not good enough, or I'm too much because I was probably too much myself. I should have been someone else more. I should have put on more of a mask. And yeah, everything is a threat for you. So that was why maybe you are threatened. You feel threatened if there are pretty women around in your partner's life, if there's a new colleague, or if he has too much social conversations or engagement with pretty people who maybe have something that you don't have. Either it is maybe a career level, or their self-image or confidence, or something you feel threatened by. Because everything in the end goes into, I'll be abandoned. So I want you to first notice this and then challenge it. Really prove it that this is wrong. A secure person would not think like this, because it's not necessarily because they only trust other people because they know that everyone is perfect. No, people can change their minds, they can change their feelings, things can happen, but mostly the top core thing is like that I am capable. That is the belief that secure attachment people do. They know that I can handle things, even if it turns out my partner fell out of love, even if my partner cheated, even if something really bad should happen, I can handle it. It will sting, it will be painful. I will cry, I will grieve, everything is normal. Anxious, attached people just go through this with like so much more of a wave. They're drowning in a wave, and then put like a ball. If you push it underneath water, they like drown first, and then they're pushed with such a force out of the water. Versus the secure person, they're riding this wave, like they're letting this inflatable ball like really go with the wave, with the ups and downs. So challenge your fears. These are still immediately, because they're your core wounds. They will always pop up when you feel threatened, but challenge them. Even in micro things, when you're sitting on the couch with your partner at the weekend and you're noticing you're always shifting towards your partner, you're hypervigilant on his mood, you're probably subconsciously not even aware of what is going on in your body and in your mind, that you're always jumping to like, okay, this means maybe his mood is off, he's withdrawn, maybe this means, he's not that into me anymore. Challenge it, notice it. 3, how to stop your anxious attachment is stop pausing your life for your partner. Yeah, for him. And that can be in various ways how you're doing this right now. So anxious attachment is not just in their fight response, in their fight survival energy, meaning they're very intense and they're very seeking much closeness towards the partner, but they're also in their fawning response often. Fawning means people pleasing, and that is also what we touched on before, meaning hypervigilance, on always focusing on the partner. That can be visually, can be energetically, it can be mentally. And guess what? That's very draining for your avoidant partner, because that's exactly the opposite of what they want. By the way, if you're attached to someone who has narcissistic tendencies, they love that. So that's why it's another really thing to be wary of, that if you to really watch out for your patterns, because your patterns will attract certain kind of people who are, kind of a match for you energetically. So people eventually, avoidant will be really triggered by this behavior versus a narcissistic person who will love that. They will love the attention, unless you then mix it, of course, with this fight response of attacking and criticizing and, oh, you should give me more assurance, you should give me more attention, or you haven't taken me out in a while. This kind of criticism, which then triggers the partner into becoming more defensive, more shut down, more avoidance. So how does it look like right now for you? How could you be pausing your life? Maybe you're not planning anything for the weekend. This could be maybe one way how you right now pausing your life for him or for her or for them, for your partner. Because, deep down you're thinking, I only have fun with my partner. I only feel truly fulfilled when I'm actively being close to him, physically, energetically, mentally. So why do I even want to plan anything like, okay, yeah, I could do this or that, but nothing really truly fills your cup. So you're waiting around for your partner, or you're asking your partner what you should do, but often avoidant attached people are more like flexible, spontaneous. They need adventure, versus someone who has an anxious attachment style needs predictability, certainty, a routine, in terms of you want to know already, probably on a Monday or Tuesday, what's coming at the next weekend, or let's say latest Thursday, okay? So really want to know what are the weekend plans, planning something, versus your avoidant partner might never plan anything. Maybe Saturday comes around and they have still completely an empty schedule, but then they suddenly decide, okay, oh, their friends called, and they're gonna go to the pub or whatever, watch footy. And this could be very triggering for you if you have an anxious attachment style, because it's like, oh my God, like I was waiting around all week. I haven't planned anything. I've asked what he wanted to do and he didn't say anything. He was very vague. And now you're becoming resentful towards your avoidant partner because you were hoping that he would still, of course, spend the weekend with you. And with weekend maybe you meant all weekend, all Saturday, the morning, afternoon, evening, Sunday the same, versus your partner maybe thought, yeah, of course we spent the weekend together, but with weekend, I personally meant more, Saturday morning. I mean, we were together Saturday morning, right? We were waking up together, we had breakfast, and, you were like, I don't know, hoovering versus he was being on his computer game. So you have to be very specific on terms of what you actually want. But that's a whole different thing. It's about communication. Right now, it's important that you don't just keep all of these wide spaces in your calendar just in case your partner comes around, just in case you plan something, just in case, or suddenly, he's not going out with his friends and he will decide to spend time with you. You want to plan your life first, your goals. That means everyday things, create some hobbies. I know right now it might not feel exciting for you yet, or you might not have enough, but you will be excited again. Imagine you were a little kid, you were playful, you had things to do, you were drawing, you were playing outside in the mud, you were dancing in the rain, you had fun on your own. You didn't need a boy to be the fun for you. And that comes also in terms of like career goals or where you maybe want to move to, or life goals. You don't have to wait hours for a partner to commit to you, to marry you, to do certain things for you, if that makes sense. Then that next one is stop demands and shoulds. That's extremely important. And this falls more into the category of fight energy. So there is the fight or flight response, and that is the nervous system trying to keep you safe. You learn eventually as a kid, okay, this is my strategy. This is what gets me closer to my parents, or this is what gets me heard and seen. So maybe you have realized high standards for yourself and for your partner gets you to feel important or needed or seen. So eventually you created this rule book of demands for yourself and for your partner. And they include in all of the rules of how a partner should treat you. And they got reinforced through social media of like, oh yeah, if he wanted to, he would. And partner, your partner should always reassure you and always affirm you and give you flowers on Valentine's Day and all of these rules. Because in truth is you feel insecure and anxious, and these rules kind of give you a sense of safety. It's like, oh yeah, if I kind of raise the bar and see if he follows all of these rules, maybe then I'm safe. If he empties the dishwasher exactly how I want him to do it, like not at 9 o'clock, how he always does it, because it's way too late, it's way too loud, I want to relax, then I can feel safe. However, there's not necessarily a right and wrong way. There's just a way of that you think is right, and your partner will always think they're failing you if you criticize him, if you demand certain things, especially if they're more surface level. If you make fun of his blue t-shirt or how he dresses and how he wears things and what he says and how he says things, and you always criticize, like, was it nitpick and come from this place, you're just mirroring his mom probably, and it's not sexy to be, to marry that part, because in the end he will not be attracted to this, even though it was something subconsciously he was attracted at the beginning. And it does come from a place of insecurity where you think, I don't feel secure enough or lovable. That's why my partner should create the safety. He should reassure me. He should affirm my love, because deep down, you don't really feel secure or lovable or enough. But no amount of reassurance your partner gives you, or quality time, or that love that you're expecting from him, will fill that cup for you. And I can go more into detail in another episode if you want me to. And the last rule is stop telling him how to be treated and show him. And that's all about boundaries, because so many times we set boundaries wrong. We tell our partner, this is how you should do it. We tell him over and over again what to do, what we like, or you can't talk to me like this. Oh, you said it again, you did it again. You need to respect me. But they will never learn. Like, words are okay, especially for women. We do take words seriously, but for men, they're, especially for avoidant men, they're not as important because actions are much more powerful than words. For example, if, let's say, your partner cheated on you once, I'm always a huge fan of let's talk about it, let's see what the reasons were behind it, and see if you can work on it so it doesn't happen again, and see really how regretful your partner is about this. Is there a pattern? Has he done this in the past? Go a little bit deeper into this. And then if you want to decide to forgive him and, create and try to rebuild the trust again, okay. However, if he done it again, and then again, that is up to you then, because you are then the one who accepts his pattern. It's not a one-off anymore. It's now a pattern, and you are just as definitely not guilty, but you are a part of this now. So you really want to show through actions rather than words what's acceptable, how you want to be treated. If your partner raises your voice at you, you say, hey, can we talk to each other in a, normal voice, or can we lower our voices a little bit? You express how you want to be treated once. And if he continues, you say, okay, I'm going to leave the room now. You're going to leave the room. You're not just going to warn and then not going to do it. You follow through. So boundary is set in a way of, so you're setting a boundary by saying, if you do basically this, then I will follow through with my consequence. Then I will do this. And then you can add a reason why. You can say because of this, but often it's not even needed. This is extremely effective. However, anxious attachment, often they do it wrong. They so many times think, oh, I expressed my boundary, I set my boundary, and you setting a boundary of what your partner should do is like, oh, if you raise your voice, then you can't talk to me like this, or you should leave the room. However, yes, it sounds right if someone else crosses your boundaries and do something inappropriate. However, what if they don't leave the room? You can tell them again and again, and then your boundaries been crossed, and then what? Nothing happened. That's why it's extremely important that you always do something where you are in control of it. Boundaries for you, for your own self-respect, for your own self-love, create safety for yourself. It's like if you building a house with bricks, it's not against anyone, but it's for your own safety to ensure the wind doesn't pipe through, so that you're warm enough in winter and that you have isolation in summer. And that if a stranger comes by, they can knock, or that that you're protected. But it's not against out of anger or conflict or resentment. So you don't really set boundaries in the moment you're angry and you shout at them, but you usually already are aware of your boundaries beforehand, what you want, and then you can explain your boundaries afterwards, but you don't do it out of anger or spite. You usually just follow up with your action and consequences in the moment it happens. So don't come to your partner right now and write down all of your boundaries to them so they know how you will act later. This is just for yourself to be aware of how you want to, what you want to do next time something happens. So you can reflect right now on things that are happening consistently where boundaries are crossed, and what you can do then in future. And it's essential and crucial you do follow through. So you don't do things or say things that you can't follow through on. It's like, oh yeah, if you flirt with this waitress, I will leave you. If you say something to your partner, you will have to do it. Otherwise, you teach them, okay, your words mean nothing, and you won't show up with what you said, and they can do it all over again. So these were the things on the 5 things on how to stop your anxious attachment. I hope it's very helpful, and I'll see you in the next episode. Remember, change in your relationship starts with you, thought by thought, action by action, and now episode by episode. Please email me if you have specific questions or things I should cover, and I believe in you. We've got this.